That's good.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Dude,
that was at church, huh?
That was at church. If you can believe that. It was, man, it was so good. I was like, I love that song.
That's good.
So, I know you appreciate Southern gospel. There's a few of us out there that do.
Yeah, you know my style. I found this little beauty here.
Are we recording?
Yeah, but we'll edit this out.
There we go. Creek don't rise.
Back on the job, think I'm working too hard. Need a little break cause I'm feeling kinda tired. Rather be sitting home sleeping in the yard. This day's getting awful long. Then I remember what the Lord told me. Gotta be a servant with humility. Need to keep in mind what I'm called to be. When I'm weak, He is strong. I'm living this day by day. Don't think I'll make it any other way. If the good Lord's a willing and the creek don't rise.
Isn't that good?
I'ma make it to
Dude,
the
that's
other
good.
side.
Actually, I thought of you. It's been a minute. I think probably maybe a year and a half ago. We have a couple guys, maybe even longer. Maybe it's 2 years. Incorporated the cajon.
Oh, nice.
Dude, it sounds so good. The cajon is like such a nice addition because it's the beat that's missing, but it's not like an overpowering like a drum set that you can go nuts on. It can kind of like drown everything else out. It's such a good balance, and guys that know how to play it, I'm like, I don't know how you can be so far in the zone. I mean, they're in the zone when they're playing it. Like,
that's one of my regrets.
It's impressive. It's really impressive.
When I sold that cajon to Spate, I wish I would have kept it.
I wonder if that's the one we're using because he's incorporated it.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys that'll play it.
Yeah, I missed that.
That could be yours. Does it have anything on it?
No. I sold to him for like $100, I think. I paid like $150, I think, for it. But I think I was like moving out of my parents' house or something, and I was just like...
Dude, it sounds good. It's a fun instrument.
Yeah.
Is that the only instrument you play besides the bass?
The bass. I gave the bass to this missionary. He was going to Lithuania. And he played the bass guitar, but he didn't have a bass guitar. And he had a regular guitar and he had a ukulele. And I was like, I have a bass. I hardly play it. And I was like, do you want it? It's a Fender. And he's like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, you can have it if you'll use it. He's like, I'll use it. And I was like, yeah, you can have it. So
dude, that's nice.
Put it in his van. Who knows where it is now? But yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. Crazy story about instruments. You went with me to pick up the mandolin. You remember that? Years ago?
Yes.
Okay, so we picked up the mandolin. And this just hit me recently. Because obviously, like, we had a baby and then, and health issues and all the different transitions. In 2020, it was right around, like, the winter time. So Rowan would have been about 6 or 8 months old. I needed to get some strings replaced on it. And I remember taking it to a guitar shop over on Whipple. You remember that one over there by Grinders?
Yes.
It was like I forget what the music place is called. And I remember taking it in there, and then that was right around the time when like things shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't hit me to like go back and get it. We were in the transition of selling our house. All this stuff, then Claire comes, and literally all these transitions. And if I was helping out with music, I'd play guitar, so I wasn't playing it much. And it did not dawn on me till recently. I'm like, where's my mandolin at? And then I remembered I never got it back from that shop. That shop was auctioned off by Kiko's like 2 years ago. So I don't know who owns my mandolin.
Oh, man.
And it went in there for just strings to get repaired.
Oh my goodness. What does one of those cost? Like $500?
$400 or $500.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I thought you were talking about the mandolin years ago that you gave to somebody. Tony's little sister, Sarah.
No, I owned...
Was like...
Yeah, I owned... I think, no, the one that I owned... I think I've had for 10 years maybe, at least.
Yeah. I remember getting it.
Yeah. But it's
I think I fell asleep.
Now it's auctioned off. Here's a funny story. Small world, speaking of falling asleep. All right. So go back in your mind. I went with you, and we were going to be moving at that time, your girlfriend was moving here.
Mm-hmm.
And we took Doug's truck.
Yeah.
That?
Yeah. I do.
I think
the F-250.
I think Doug was wanting me to be driving.
Yes, he didn't trust me, but he wouldn't say it.
He wouldn't say it.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know what? You've had some moments driving.
Sure. And I was a kid. I was 19.
You're 19.
Yeah.
But here we're gonna take this truck. And
it is a long trip.
Story,
6-hour drive.
Jarrett's gonna be buying that truck.
Is he really?
Said, last time I was in that truck was probably, I think, that time when we drove.
Wow. Last time.
That's been 15 years ago.
Yeah. You know how nice of a guy Doug is I borrowed that truck to get gravel one time because I was putting a French. So this is a story. We're rolling, by the way. We're in it. We'll figure it out. This is 26. We'll figure it out. But okay, I buy a house in 2010, I think. So it was after the Obama. Yeah, I'll drink to that. Yeah, but I'm drinking my Fit Miss Energy for women. Got it on clearance.
It's going to help spread the hips.
Extra estrogen. You can see me walking with some flair tomorrow. Bill, you better believe. So I buy a house. Housing market was down. I got this house for like $70,000. That house over on Phillips, which is crazy to think that you could buy a house for $70,000 nowadays.
What a good time.
And like, it didn't need anything. Everything I did to it was just cosmetic stuff, which is just crazy. The only thing it needed was a furnace, and I'm getting that furnace for free. But that's a long story. But so the Lord is good. But so I had water coming into my basement, and my dad comes and looks at it, and he's like, "It's a natural stream."
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, and the neighbor he believed it too. I forget the neighbor's name, but he used to help with the Hall of Fame. Oh, Marty and Ann.
Oh, yeah.
And so we, Marty's like, yep, the previous owner had that waterproofed by Ohio State Waterproofing in 1997. I think it was October. Sure enough, I call and I say, it was a job in October 1997. And they were like, yep, here it is. Just off this guy's memory, the next door neighbor, which is crazy. But so there's water running through the basement, like a lot of water. And so what we did is we drained it into a sump pump pit, basically. And then my dad was like, what we'll do is we'll dig a giant ditch in the backyard. A giant drain, a French drain, and we'll fill it with gravel, and we'll just drain all that water in there, and you won't have a problem anymore. And I'm a kid. I'm like 22. I'm like, sure, sounds good, Dad. So
go for it.
We rig up this system with these timers, and like we run all the piping, and it was a mess. But we have to dig this pit in the backyard. My little brother, may he rest in peace, said that he would dig it by hand. And like I told him, this thing needs to be like 6 feet deep and like 10 feet across and whatever. And he's like, yeah, $55. I'll do it. I was like, sold.
Okay, if you were to guess, was he buying something for $55?
I am guessing. He would have been like 17 at the time.
Probably like a paintball gun.
So I get home from work and he's covered in mud and he's sitting in a pit and he's like, I'm done. And I was like, I'm not paying you. And I ended up giving him $20 because he was ticked, and I gave him a ride home. But dug all day, but he didn't realize how much work went into digging a pit that was 6 by 10.
Did he get it all the way down?
No,
okay.
It was like 2-3 feet down, but it was just like a hole in the ground. So I'm like, I'm just paying you out of a charity at this point. And so, anyways, we get a backhoe, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm working this backhoe. My dad's standing there. I swing the bucket. I smack him with it. He goes flying across the yard. And so we dig this ditch. We needed gravel. And my dad's like, we got to get Doug's truck. Call him up, see if he'll let you borrow it. He let me borrow it. Get gravel. Get a couple of loads of gravel. We fill this hole up. We run the plumbing into this thing. And we're like, problem solved. It's going to drain. Everything's going to be good. Wake up like 2 days later. The neighbor knocks on the door. Her yard is flooded. There's that much water. Turns out it was a busted main right outside the house that was flooding my basement. So basically what was happening is the city water main was running into my basement. I was funneling it into my yard, flooding my lesbian neighbor's yard. So, yeah, it's big lesbian lady. And no disrespect to any of our viewers who fit that criteria. Yeah. So, anyways, got the main fix, problems solved. There was no need to do all that stuff in the yard.
Dude, I never heard the end of that story.
Yeah. Well, the real end of the story is I drove Doug's truck around with the e-brake on the whole time, back and forth to the gravel place, burned this thing out, and I didn't realize it until we got back. My dad's like, you've been driving with the emergency brake on the whole time. You need to get this replaced for Doug. And Doug was like, oh, don't worry about it. I was going to get it done anyways. And as like a kid, I was just like, oh, okay, great. Okay, you sure? But like looking back, I'm like, he was just so kind that he was like, this kid's an idiot. And I'm not going to charge him for this.
No, because I don't want him messing around with this truck anymore.
Yeah, like give me my truck back. Yes. I've borrowed it since to like do stuff and like, but now that I'm older, it's like I'm not an idiot anymore, or as much of an idiot. So, dude, that was a crazy time.
That's wild. Okay, I remember going over there. I think when you were filling it with gravel, because you had your one friend Adam from FedEx.
Oh yeah.
There, and I came over. Was it like a Saturday?
Dude, we almost.
What were we doing? I don't remember what we were doing that day.
I don't remember either. Maybe we were moving somebody, doing something. But funny story about Adam from FedEx. So,
Adam, shout out to you.
Yeah, we parked. He had a Ford Ranger and he had a trailer, and we used his Ford Ranger to pull this backhoe. And turns out we actually permanently damaged this Ford Ranger. He had to have it fixed later. We like pulled the bed or something away from the truck somehow. I don't even know.
Frame?
Yeah, messed up the frame on this thing because this thing was so heavy. But the guys at the rental place, it was like Saturday before they were going to close, and they were just like, all right, like we're just going down the road, like whatever. Well, he parked the truck on
you're general rental.
Yeah.
So you were maybe at half mile.
Yeah, not even. And so there's a hill outside of my house. He parked the truck on the hill. And when he backed the thing off of there, the truck started to go forward, and I'm like running after this truck to like jump in this truck and hit the brake. It was crazy. We almost lost this truck too. It was wild. That whole incident was crazy. That was a crazy time.
And it was just Maslin City water main. Maslin City,
and that was my responsibility because it was my property. So on Christmas Eve, the guy I called an excavating company, Holderbaum Excavating, and they came out and fixed it for me. And it was $1,200, but if I paid cash, it was $1,000. So I gave him 10 crisp 100s, and that was it. It was my emergency fund.
$1,000 was all of the repairs. That was just like them digging up like a small area to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So
they were out there. There was 2 guys out there for most of the day.
That's a great deal. I was thinking it'd be more, a couple thousand. So how did you discover it was Maslin City, Maine again?
Because when we called Ohio State Waterproofing, the guy was like, you probably have a main busted.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
So then once you correct that, like the neighbors didn't care. They weren't getting flooded
Totally
out.
done.
So you're literally taking and diverting who knows how many hundreds of gallons of water
every
into
day.
The neighbors'
right into their yard. Like it was in my yard, and then it would flow down into the hill into the big lesbian's yard, and that was
slip
it.
And slide.
It's basically a slip and slide. And so that was wild. That was crazy because they were so mad. So
Well, because in your mind, and I can see like in your dad's mind, you're thinking like, okay, there's going to be enough water. Then we're going to put it into this big, giant ditch with gravel.
It's going to disperse.
Just disperse, and it'll be good. Little do you know, this thing, so your pump was running probably around the clock.
Basically.
Wow.
The sump pump was running 24/7.
Okay, then you need to tell the story of when I came over there in the wintertime. Do you remember that story? You were going to show me something in the basement. It was wintertime. It was snowing outside. You had that tile landing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Someone fell down the stairs.
As soon as we go to take a step down, and I even had hunting boots on.
You fell.
My feet go out from underneath me, and I hit you because you were a step in front of me.
Yes, I remember this.
Your elbow comes down right in the middle of my thigh. I mean, it was almost a near loss because with your body coming down,
your children,
it was serious force. And we went down the stairs together all the way to the bottom.
I remember that. I remember that.
Jerry, are you okay? And dude, I remember my leg hurting so bad.
Yeah, I remember that. Isn't that crazy how like traumatic events happen? And like in the moment, that was a very traumatic event.
I know.
Or that was a very crazy thing that happened. And then you fast forward 10 years, 12 years, and it's like, I didn't remember that until you just said it.
I know.
That's crazy.
Okay, so my wife and I were talking. My one brother, Jrich, he was in an accident probably 8 years ago now. Yeah, 7, 8 years ago, somewhere right around that time frame. He was supposed to meet up with us at a football game. We're going to a football game. Me and my wife are there. He doesn't show up, and it's kind of like, oh, that's odd. Like, figured he'd be there. I happen to get a call from an unknown number. And this lady was like, "Hey, here's my name. So I came across this auto accident, and your brother, Jarrett, was in the accident. He's okay. He's bleeding. Yada yada. But he only remembered your phone number. So she called me, and she's like, it happened on Fulton Road. And I was like, okay, thanks for calling. Appreciate it." Ambulance was there. What had happened is he had lost control. Do you know this story?
Mm-mm.
He lost control, and in his little car totaled out like a brand new SUV head on. He had a CD, which I think he still has it. That gives you a little bit of a timestamp. That literally sliced through the side of his head. He ended up having to get stitches in the side of his head. Had it been, inches lower, it would have taken his jugular out. Mm-hmm. Quite literally, which is just absolutely,
He's basically like Donald. Yes, I was just gonna say. He gets up from the accident. He's like, fight. It's like, sir, are you okay?
So
how did the CD slice his head?
Well, when he went off, because it was like, he went off the road. He tried to correct, and when he hit, I think, did the car flip? He could tell the story. You have to ask him. And so, long story short, I contact my mom, and I'm like, hey, this is what happened. I don't know where he's going, but probably like to Altman
Heaven.
or Mercy or something like that. Hopefully heaven.
Yeah.
Good outweighs the bad.
Oh, no.
But anyways, so my mom and my brother are like, well, we'll go, try to find on Fulton Road, where this accident took place. Nobody can find his car. Nobody knows anything. They contacted Jackson Police, Canton, Perry, all over. Nobody knows about this accident. We're like, this is weird. She said Fulton. Well, so I'm trying to reach this lady. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I can't get a hold of this lady. She knows my brother's in an accident. She has my number. I'm texting her. Still not getting a response back. Finally I get a response back.
It was an angel.
I often wondered that. And maybe it's just like, listen, I'm back up in heaven. Long distance.
Don't get good service. The Lord's on us about Roman calls.
Well, listen, God's got us down to 25 text messages a month.
We're all on track phones.
So,
sorry.
No, you're good. So, long story short, it was Fulton Road, which is over like Dalton, Tucson, closer to where we live now. Very close to our good friend and supporter of the podcast, Goods Oil.
Norman Good.
Norman Good, I think it's on Fulton Drive. I think
Wow.
it may have happened.
So you took it as Fulton and Canton, but it was Fulton and like Dalton.
Because your mind just goes
Yeah,
immediately
to
like
what you
first
know.
thing you're like, oh, Fulton Road. Okay,
When you say Fulton, that's what I
she was
think
like,
of.
I don't know where it's like. I was like, what are you close to? And she's like, it's hard to really describe. Here's what's happened. And I was like, okay. So we get to the hospital. That's that part of the story. This part of the story I completely forgot about. My wife forgot about that part. She's like, I can't believe I forgot about that part of the story. The part I forgot about was he ended up at our house. We took care of him for a couple of days. I'm like, how did I forget him being at our house for a couple of days? And my wife was going out and buying him popsicles.
That sounds right.
Which is about right.
That's how you know it's legit.
And he was at the house. She's like, all I remember is like putting on Phantom of the Opera for him and buying him popsicles.
Phantom of the Opera?
He loves it. He'd start weeping at Phantom of the Opera.
Really? Just, like still? Or is that just like a delirious state?
He would still. If you played it for him today, he'd probably start crying.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so wild.
And so, but that part of the story like eludes me. I'm like, how did I forget that he was on my couch for like several days?
That's crazy.
But
you wonder like what have I been through that I've forgotten?
I know.
You ever think that? Man, I was messing with Noah's mind, so he's 11, and I was like, what if you're the only real one here and like we're all just robots? He's like, I thought that the other day. And I was like, yeah, man, you don't know. You don't know who's real.
Dude, have you ever had a thing in life that you can go back to and you wonder, like, I wonder if that was like an angel? Because part of me did wonder that lady, like, that I talked with. It was almost so bizarre.
Yeah.
That I was almost like, is that why I couldn't get a hold of this person? I don't know.
I personally have not, but my dad told me a story, and I was like, I feel like that was an angel. So he was real sick with cancer, and he went to Bob Evans with like my mom or something, and they got breakfast one morning. And he's in the bathroom, and this guy like comes up to him, and my dad's like standing washing his hands, and he said the guy like came up to me. He's a younger guy. He looked at me, and he said, I just want to let you know that it's all going to be okay. And right now it seems like it's not, but the Lord's going to take care of you. And then the guy just like walked out of the bathroom and wasn't in the restaurant when he came out. But it's just like something like that where it's just like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So, and I've heard stories from other people. So, I don't know. Like, I believe that.
Yeah.
I absolutely. And, like, who knows what the Lord has done to, like, keep us from accidents or from hurting ourselves or hurting others or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, or making the wrong decision or whatever. Like, what is he doing? I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. Yeah.
What about you?
To think about. None that I can pinpoint, but that is one where I've often wondered, like, the fact that it was like on the scene at the right at the right time. Like my brother was like really out of it. Did he actually know the number? Like, because he has no recall. He doesn't remember anything about. He just remembers the last thing, like overcorrecting, and then that was it. So, yeah, I have no idea. No idea. And the fact, too, is so wild because we were at a football game, and the fact that I happened to hear my phone ring and I answered it on a number I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was like, there's so many things at play that, timing and I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I believe that God is involved in our lives.
Yeah.
Angels, entertaining angels unaware.
Yeah.
Joseph Smith did it. Moroni. So.
He's our example.
Can you do it? Just kidding, all our Mormon friends out there.
You think we have a few Mormon listeners?
Oh, no, there's no way. You think we do? Maybe.
We might.
Any Mormons out there?
Mormon,
holler.
please comment. So, Do we get any comments from last week?
I really don't think so. Not a lot of involvement. I can check.
Yeah, and maybe we need to let the folks know we're back on our schedule.
We're
back on
guys.
routine again. In case you were wondering, are they going to continue this? Yes. We will be here every Monday, Lord willing. That's the plan.
If the creek don't rise, as what we heard earlier.
Oh, you're looking that up. I'm going to refill my coffee.
Yeah, no comments on that one. Let me check and see. Fill in your coffee.
Did your sister watch the episode? Did she give us any comments or any feedback?
She did. And you made the comment too that you had thrown me some softballs. And
did I throw you a couple softballs? I thought I did.
You did.
Okay.
Because you were like, what did you say? When I said that I was a 9 out of 100 in mobility, you said, you should just double down. Stop moving. And, that was a perfect line, and I didn't do anything with it. So my sister said that was the funniest line of the podcast. She's like, you just buzzed over it. You didn't even acknowledge it.
You
and I was just like,
it.
what is on your shirt? White dude for Harris 24. Where did you get that?
Just from a friend. So I just wanted to get that out on the podcast so people
Oh
kind of knew where I
my
stood.
gosh. Wow. Where did you get it?
Josiah.
Does he have one as well?
Less?
Did he send it to you in the mail?
He sent it to me. So
Does he wear one around?
he might have one. He wanted to know if I got any feedback. And it was funny because he's like, I had 2 ways of buying you this shirt. I was either going to buy you a super skin tight one, so it just look extreme, or a really large one so it looks frumpy.
Yeah, like a 4X.
Like a 4X.
Yeah.
So he's like, I ended up going just a normal size, but yeah, I'm going to wear it out in public just to see what happens.
I'd be careful.
So,
I mean, depending on where you wear it.
I'm not too worried.
You wear it up in Cleveland, you'll be fine. You wear it in Worcester, you might have a different story.
Yeah, unless I'm out in the corner out there in Worcester.
That's true.
Close to the university there. A little bit whacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a couple So your sister listened to it. Did she have some feedback?
Oh, she just said that it was funny and whatever. I was having a problem uploading it to Spotify, which most people listen on YouTube anyways, so it's fine.
Do they?
Yeah, but...
Is your friend Aaron still a listener?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
That was one thing, too, I was going to ask. What's the latest and greatest? His one son was always bringing things to church. Has he opened up a few more bags in the Sunday school hour of, just
Let me try to think.
oddities?
He came this past Sunday with a s'mores cold brew coffee with graham cracker cookie crumble on the top. I was like, this is breakfast? Best breakfast there is. I was like, all right, cool, man. So he's actually going to Bible college.
Is he?
Yeah, he's
Which
leaving.
one?
He's going to Commonwealth in Kentucky. It's a smaller school, but I think it'll be really good for him. So he actually leaves this week sometime. I think he left today.
Okay.
And so it was cool. I got to hang out with him a few months ago and go out to dinner one night and just talk about all the things he needed to do to get ready. And he buckled down this summer, saved $5,000, and he's going. So I was like, it's good. He's just doing a 1-year program where you just learn the Bible for a year.
Nice.
So I was like, that'll be great.
Yeah.
Kind of a gap year kind of thing of you don't necessarily, maybe you're not ready for college or this, you just want a good foundation to go into it. So yeah, it's funny. Yeah. There's some funny stuff happening at camp. I'm not going to say a bunch of stuff and embarrass him on here, but some of these guys are brutal. So it was fun.
Is it stuff his dad would appreciate?
All right, Micaiah, if you're listening, fast forward. He was talking about how he wanted to be an accountant, and his cousins were at camp, and they would be like, what's 7 times 13? And he was like, I forget. He was like, 38. And it's that's clearly nowhere close. And he's like, oh, I thought you said 3 times 13. And they're like, you still got the answer wrong. And he's like, whatever. So it's just, they were just his cousins were just jokesters, so they were having a
That's
good time,
great.
and I'm glad they came. Those kids were cool. I liked hanging out with them, and the whole group was great that we took the camp. So
Dude, you mentioned it earlier, and we do have a listener, Jessica, so she would know this about her brother Juice. You had mentioned that
Oh yeah,
Juice had been spotted at work.
it's a
And,
Juice sighting. Yeah,
Juice sighting. And dude, there's a funny story. This is a friend of ours from back in the day.
and it's really a friend of, and like I don't
know
have
him.
anything against. His real name's Jimmy. I don't have anything against Jimmy. I just don't know Jimmy. He was kind of
Yeah.
off the scene when I came on the scene.
Yeah, no, Juice is a good dude. He's just one of those guys. He's about as consistent as you're gonna get. He's probably at work 5 minutes early. He's gonna work there, till he dies.
Hmm.
But you're gonna get this very loyal, consistent guy. But I
Jessica,
remember-
if you're listening, let us know if that's still the case.
yeah, let us know where he's at. But I remember playing Monopoly with him years ago, and my brother Josiah is relentless on Monopoly. He loves to keep people in the game as long as possible, but he's just collecting money, bartering properties. He loved that.
It's like a modern day Trump.
He's very much like Trump.
Hmm.
And one time, Josiah was doing all this stuff, and Juice was like, "How much do I owe you?" And Josiah had told him, and all of a sudden he's like, "Here, just take whatever you want." And literally takes his pile of cash, is like, "Here, just take it all. I don't even care."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Juice, you're gonna give him 2 or 3 times as much. You only owe him this much money. Here, let me get it out for you." And he's like, "Oh, okay."
He just
And in
wanted
his
it to
mind,
be
he's
over.
like, I think he just wanted it to be over.
Yeah.
And my brother's just like, "Let's just keep fishing this and wheeling and dealing."
Yeah.
It's
That's fun.
funny. Fun memories.
Yeah, so I guess I can announce this on here, but I've been seeing a lady, so that's been a lot of fun. And so she works at the hospital. She's a nurse at the hospital, and she works with Juice. So that's what she told me. I saw Jimmy Brislin down in the cafeteria just now. So I was like, oh. I said, yeah, they used to call him Juice back in the day. She's like, I remember that. And so I was just.
We used to, so Josiah, you know Josiah pretty well. You could see him doing this. He used to tell people that if they rubbed Juice's belly, it was like good luck. And you need to ask Lacey, but I'm pretty sure at one point she rubbed his belly for good luck.
I'll ask her.
It's
Yeah, I'll
kind of like
update
a
you.
Buddha type of a situation. Go up there and you kind of rub the Buddha doll. And so Josiah was this is what's so funny about this relationship, is he would convince him to kind of pull his shirt up, and then people just kind of rub his belly. And I'm like, where does this come from?
Yeah. That's
So,
wild.
It's pretty wild. Pretty messed up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, before my time for sure. I don't remember seeing that, but yeah. But anyways, so we got off. That was
But you're seeing this lady, so maybe explain a little bit more.
Okay, sure.
Ethnicity.
Caucasian.
Okay.
Yeah. I did have someone from work try to hook me up with someone. This is a kind of funny story.
Really?
Yeah, so I'll just tell this story. It was funny. So probably 2 years ago, I worked with this couple, African-American folks, and the lady is from Jamaica. And
I remember you telling me about this couple, but I
Yes.
don't know this story.
so when I was over there, so this was a month after I kind of went through everything with my ex-wife leaving, and I was just in an emotional mess, And so I'm working with her husband on this project, and then she comes in, and she's like, it's my first time meeting her, and she's like, something seems off with you, Justin. And I was like, no, I'm fine. And she's like, no, there's something going on under the surface. In a Jamaican accent. I can't really do a Jamaican accent. And I was like,
Dude, she pegged you.
I was like, just going through some personal stuff. And she's like, what is it? And I'm just thinking to myself, that's personal. But I was just like, what do I got to lose? So I just told her what was going on. And she's like, we will pray. And so she gets olive oil out of the cupboard, and she makes a cross on my forehead. and then she chases her daughter down, who's like 6 years old, puts a cross on her forehead, puts a cross on her husband's forehead, cross on her forehead. She grabs my hand, he grabs my hand, and then they hold hands. So we're in like this prayer triangle, and she prays, and the devil attacks marriages and all these things. And so, like, not my style, but I respect it, and you know, it was a good experience. Well, she calls me, and I think she's calling me about this thing we built, and she's like, I have a question for you. And I was like, yeah, what's going on? Is everything okay? And are you seeing anybody? And I was like, I actually am, yeah. She's like, oh, okay. I had a friend who was looking for a good Christian man, and so I said, I know somebody. I will call Justin. And so she's like, beautiful lady, Caucasian woman. And I was like, that's great. I really appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm super happy now.
She obviously knew you well enough to know, like, she's got to be Caucasian.
I don't know. Like, I would never say that. And that's not true. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm never... You love all.
I would never be like, I'm sorry, you're the wrong race. Like, that's not cool. That's not... No. It's whatever God has for me, right? So, this lady is Caucasian. So, yeah.
So, you met this lady 2 years ago?
What lady?
The Jamaican lady?
Yes.
And she just called somewhat recently then?
A couple days ago.
No way.
Yeah, like last Thursday. Maybe it was Friday.
How crazy is that?
Crazy.
She remembered that.
Yeah. Because she'd asked me, she's like, I'd still been praying for you for restoration. Did that ever happen? And I was like, no. She's
Dude,
like,
what
I'm
a
so
sweet
sorry.
lady. I love people like that. That's the beautiful thing of the body.
Because she's like, I was talking to my husband, and I just said, what about Justin? I'm like, I need to like look these people up on Facebook or something. Like,
yeah,
that's so cool. That
is cool.
Like, I genuinely appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm super happy, so I would never have said yes or whatever, but I was just like, I really appreciate like you thinking of me and like even calling me. Like, that's so awesome. So
I know.
Yeah. So
Caucasian, does she have a breathing tube?
No, she's not on any kind of oxygen system. Okay. She's totally normal. We actually played pickleball tonight. Okay. So we did lose 3 games in a row, but it was a humbling experience for me, and I was learning some patience, so that was good.
Do you think it had to do with your paddles?
No.
No?
Although I do want to get some Friday pickleball paddles. That's what I want.
Some of our sponsors. You want to give them a quick shout out? Friday Pickleballs?
Yeah, Friday Pickleball. So go online, FridayPickleball.com, and there's 2 paddles for $99. If you don't need to, give me one, because I'm broke and I'd like a new paddle. So they have one with an ocean wave on it that I thought looked pretty cool.
Dude, that's cool. I did check out their styles. Styles are really cool.
Yeah, it's cool designs.
It's funny because you and a friend of mine that I would never guess would ever, if I was to show them to you, you would be like, there's no way this guy plays pickleball. Both of you guys play pickleball. And I'm like, I love sports. I still have not tried pickleball.
Dude.
The first time I saw it was like probably 4 or 5 years ago in Green. And I'm like, what game is that? Because that looks so much fun.
We need to go. I'd
love to.
4 paddles. Let's do that for the double date. We were talking about doing.
Oh yeah,
the pregnant.
6 weeks away from giving birth.
Oh, bummer. Well, not bummer. That's amazing, but.
Oh man.
Maybe in like 6 months. Yeah, that's the worst. Babies are the worst.
No. Yeah.
I love babies.
Do you?
No, not really. But like when they get a little bit older. I'm not crazy about the newborn stage, but like 3 to 6 months, they're a little more fun. They're smiling a little bit more. My sister's kids are starting to get to that point where they're smiling. They're like
are they doing good?
2 months. My nephew had a surgery, so shout out Liam. I think he's a listener. So he had to have a surgery for the club feet where they like cut a tendon or something, and then they put him in casts. So he's been in casts for a while, a couple months now.
Guy.
So basically, they're trying to like bend his legs where they need to go. So
what's the and so they do this early enough. There's a good chance he'll be
totally fine.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty common actually. Wow. So, but then they put him in like some brace things with metal bars, and they'll take the casts off, but it'll keep his legs straight, and then he'll be delayed a little bit in walking, but he'll be fine. So it's like that's a miracle because, dude, back in the day, you'd have just grew up with. Without being able to walk. So it's
Dude,
like,
that's unreal.
yeah.
Does your one nephew still look like you?
Hunter?
Hunter.
I don't think so.
Because I have a picture on my phone. The kids were like, "Is that Justin's son?" Because they love seeing pictures of you. We watched the one shorts video of Thelma 15, 20 times a week. They're mesmerized.
Oh
by
my
it.
goodness!
They don't know what to do, and they just start dying laughing. I don't know why they are laughing, but they just love it.
I was actually thinking about getting a podcast segment that's called like Thoughts with Thelma or something like that, where you like ask Thelma a question.
I could ask Thelma a question today. I got lots of questions for Thelma.
We can do it now, or we can do it later.
What's the one thing, Thelma, that you're at home and you're like, man, if I could change one thing about Clyde, this is what I would change about Clyde. It just drives me nuts. You've been married for how many years?
There you go. Me and Clyde, we've been married. Me and Clyde, how long we been married for? Me and Clyde been married for going on 32 years now, Jeremy. 32 years. And if I could change, that is a good long time. And we've been happy. For the most part, we've been pretty happy. We have our ups and downs, just like every other couple do. But, for the most part, we've been pretty happy. There's a couple times, I remember when Clyde was on third shift. Now, that was one of the hardest times. DeMarcus was young. Clyde was on third shift. And I tell you what, I was so tired because I was worried all night. I was worried sick that something was going to happen. We was living in a rough part of town. We was living in Akron down near Firestone. And it's kind of rough down there. There's, some gang violence. You go out in the morning, you see the gun smoke rising off the sidewalks, and you see the chalk outlines and things like that. So I tell DeMarcus, don't go out till noon, So we'd be, I'd go sit on the porch and just sit out there and drink some sweet tea. And I just watch him play out on the sidewalk with his friends. But that was such a hard time because I was tired. I was a nervous wreck at night, and Clyde be telling me, "Tell me everything's gonna be okay." And I say, "Clyde, you are not home with me right now, and I'm with our son all by myself. My brother, he lives a few houses down, but I can't trust him. I could not get a hold of him on the phone." So he one of them guys take the wireless phone with him out the house in his pants, and eventually it's out of range. You can't reach him on the phone. He goes down to the convenience store. He buying sandwiches and whatever it is he buying down there. But anyway, so probably getting some black in my house. So we go, so that was a stressful time. But I guess, if I could change anything about Clyde, sometimes he's just a little bit too honest with me. Sometimes he is. Sometimes I say things, I'll be like, man, I put on some weight. And I'm wanting Clyde to say that I haven't and that I look as good as the day he married me. And sometimes he'll be like, well, yeah, Thelma, what do you think's going to happen when you eating them double-decker oatmeal cream pies every night? And that just drives me kind of crazy. And so sometimes he's just too honest. But you know what the thing is about him is I know he's telling the truth. I know he's being honest with me. And there's a part of me deep down inside that says, you know what? God loves an honest person. And so I know that he's just being honest. He's not being rude, but he's just being straight up with me. And he's right. Sometimes, I was a stress eater. You ever be a stress eater before? You ever just be like, you know what? I'm so stressed today. I had to stay extra at work. And I'd be going in the pantry and I'm just eating it all up. Sometimes I'd be doing that. You know what I mean? And you buy things for a certain reason and you buy the chocolate chips to put in the cookies. But all of a sudden you look down, you halfway through a soap opera episode and your hands is covered in chocolate chips. And you don't even know, Jeremy, how many times I've been in that situation. So I know Clyde's right, but sometimes he's just a little bit too honest. But, I love him to pieces. He's a good man. Like I said last time, he's a good man. So that's kind of all I got to say about that.
I like it. I love it. Dude, I don't know how. I mean, you've got a mind that is worth $1 million. To pull that off at 11 o'clock at night.
Is it 11 o'clock? Holy cow, it's 11:30.
Yeah. Just
that was unrehearsed.
That's unrehearsed.
So,
you
next week.
People can't do that, right?
What's that?
You realize that the average person cannot do that.
Just say something stupid off the cuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's not a chance. Your mind is like 5 steps ahead.
Yeah, it's a gift and a curse.
I'm sure it is a curse at times.
Man, when you try to plan for the future, it's a gift and a curse.
Well, and then I'm sure too, like you probably now out in public, you probably see certain people and think like, oh, dude, that'd be a great Thelma bit right now.
Yeah. Well, I went through the drive-thru and I didn't say anything stupid, but I had $4 in cash and drinks are $1 a piece right now at McDonald's. And so I was like, all right, guys, I got $4. It was after grocery shopping. I was like, you guys want a drink? So we went through McDonald's. We were going to my sister's house to hang out. So I was like, we'll just grab drinks and go over there. And so I go through and I was like, Thelma's going to order tonight. And the boys were so embarrassed that they were like crawling into the back seat. I was like, hello, can I have a large Diet Coke? 1 second, please. No problem. Take your time. Yeah, so
Dude, that's amazing.
And then when I went up there, you know, of course the person's confused that it's just like, I just took this order and this doesn't sound like the lady that just placed the order. I'm like, yep, here you go. Like, my kids are just like mortified, but it's good for them.
Dude, that's so good. Okay, you need to tell the story about your dad going through the drive-thru. What he would do. I love that. That's just a great dad moment.
Yeah, he would pull up and he'd order stuff they don't have on the menu. So he'd be like, "Yep, I'll take a large order of spaghetti and a large Coke, and that's all." And they're like, "I'm sorry, we don't have spaghetti." And he'd be like, "Okay, I'll just take some cottage cheese and a large Coke, and that'll be it." And they're like, "We don't sell cottage cheese." And so he would just order, and like they would be.
Your mom's in the car at the time too, right?
Yeah, people. Okay. We're all getting embarrassed, whatever. And then so he'd be like, he'd order food, like, you know, he's ordering Happy Meals, and he'd order his meal, whatever, double cheeseburger, whatever he's getting. And then they'd be like, "Anything else for?" He's like, "Yep, just a side of orange Jello, and that's it." "I'm sorry, we don't sell Jello." "You don't sell Jello?" "No." And he's like, well, you know, he just says something stupid like, "There's always room for more," or whatever, you know, whatever. So just stupid stuff. And like sometimes he'd be like, this one was the one that was embarrassing. I remember I was like 16, sitting in the passenger seat, and he pulls up and he's ordering double cheeseburgers. One for me, one for him. Those were like snacks back in the day, a double cheeseburger. They were only $1.
Dude, I remember smashing some back in the
day. You gotta tell your story about that. But he went up and he was like, Hi, can I have two double cheeseburgers, please? Because he repeated everything because it's a double cheeseburger. And he thought that was the funniest thing in the world. So, yeah. I was just like sitting there. I'm just like sitting in the seat. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed by this guy.
That secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah. But then other times, you know, he'd just pull through the drive-thru and be like, "Yeah, can I have 2 apple pies?" And like us kids are in the back. And then he'd just drive up and pay. And they just eat them. And drive, like, nothing for us. Like, "You guys want anything?" Nope. But it was just like understood that like, this is dad. You know, like dad does what he wants.
Yeah.
Like, dad has his own snacks, and, like, my dad always had pistachios. Like, you weren't allowed to touch the pistachios because they were expensive, and those were dad's. They always had peanut M&Ms. You didn't mess with the peanut M&Ms. So.
Would he ever give some to you guys, or?
Yeah, but it would be like, you know.
It's almost like a Christmas.
Father, can you spare an M&M? Like that kind of Oliver Twist
You're looking
situation.
Fat. No.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my nickname was Fat Boy, so people are like, "That's so messed up." And it's like, you know what? Sure. But it, like, I wouldn't trade it, and it made me tough.
Yeah.
And so it's like, somehow he knew that he had to prepare me to lose all my hair by age 11 and look like Powder. Have you ever seen Powder before? The movie? Have you ever seen this guy?
No. The movie Powder? All I can imagine is just a pasty white dude, like an Uncle Fester.
This was me at age 11. I'll put a picture on for the viewers. That was me.
That was you before you
pasty
got
white boy.
The sun.
Yeah. So I remember the first day I lost my hair, I came to school and I wore just a light pink t-shirt Hindsight 2020, it was the same color as my skin. So I just looked like I had a pair of shorts on that day. But what can you do, you know? So.
Dude, I've seen some people lately with alopecia. I don't know if it's getting more prevalent or if it's just it just happened to be in the right place.
All these autoimmune diseases are getting more prevalent. Yeah. It's crazy. It's almost like the pharmaceutical companies are like an industry that's trying to make money. It's almost like doctors and nurses get paid insane amounts of money to help sick people.
Here we go.
It's almost, I don't know, it's almost.
No, those people, they want what's best for you.
It's almost like the insurance companies are a huge scam, almost.
No.
I don't know.
I think they're all legit.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
They're just looking out for us. I think you can take the gospel and the Bible and take them same face value.
Yeah.
Very similar.
You know what is interesting? So everyone that's saying that I'm crazy or whatever, but my insurance right now doesn't cover my diabetes care. You have to be with them, Medishare, you have to be with them for 3 years before they cover type 1 diabetes because it's a pre-existing condition. And so,
how many years are you on Medishare now?
This is year 2.
Okay.
So, but anyways, previously my doctor bills would be like $600-$700 and they'd send it to the insurance company, right? And then I'd have to pay X amount to reach deductible. Now I prepay for my appointments in cash, $75. Before it was like $600. It's crazy. So I don't know.
Even though it's not covered.
It's because I'm saying I don't have insurance. I need to pay cash.
Yeah.
So they're like $75. This is our rate. I'm like, okay.
And you're thinking, for all these years, why did I even carry this insurance coverage?
Yeah. What's the point?
Who is making money?
So it's worth it with pharmaceuticals though, and with like the insulin pump and all that junk. But we don't need to talk about all that.
I highlight two things. I don't know if the viewers can see. Classic cup of Tiger tradition. So this is just unbiased. I wanted you to take a whiff of this.
Where did you get this?
Just a local championship coffee roaster downtown Massillon. What does that smell like? If you were to take a whiff of that, what does it smell like?
It smells like the City of Champions.
Yeah.
I smell a little bit of the locker room at the Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. I smell a little bit of the sewage plant down by Walmart. It smells pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to bring it because I wish the viewers could also smell. But yeah, championships.
Don't you wish that you could send a smell through a phone?
That'd be pretty.
Wouldn't that be cool? To be like, you got to smell this, and like you take like a smell recording and you send it.
And send it through.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be unbelievable.
Elon, if you're listening,
please make that work.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you saw this. So I love to jump on the local papers just to see what's happening.
Okay. I don't do that, so I've probably not seen this.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So then you're going to read this article. You don't know what this article is, but I'm going to let you just read this for the podcast. It'll be live. But I don't follow the news except for local news.
Okay.
National.
See, I follow that.
I know you do. I just know, like, I know where I stand.
Sure. Trans, Kamala, we get it.
Yeah, so I'm just not trying to, stir the pot.
I wish that shirt said trans white dudes for...
I'm sure there's one out there. Yeah. So, viewers, you guys can enjoy this story. This was from a couple days ago.
Do you have to pay to be a member of these? Canton woman accused of killing eating cat after stomping its head. This is on the cantonrepository.com.
Yes.
Okay. Canton. The case against 27-year-old Canton woman accused of killing and eating a cat on Friday night will be sent to Stark County grand jury. Canton police arrested Alexis T. Farrell at 10:45 p.m. Friday night in the 1100th block of 13th Street Southeast. She is accused of killing a cat by stomping its head and then eating it in a residential housing complex Multiple people saw the incident. Farrell, what an appropriate last name, was charged with prohibition concerning companion animals, a 5th-degree felony, and a misdemeanor charge of injuring animals and disorderly conduct by reason of intoxication. Canton Municipal Judge Christine D. Gardado set her bond at $100,000 during an arraignment on Monday.
And that's it.
Farrell was represented by the public defender. That is insane. So she was drunk, and she saw a cat, and she said, I'm going to stomp, quote, stomping its head. So I'm going to stomp this cat's head, and then I'm going to take it into this housing complex, and I'm going to eat this cat.
Yeah.
That is insane.
That's happening near us.
Alexis T. Farrell is just wandering around Canton at 10:45 p.m.
Hungry.
Hungry as all get out.
I mean,
A little bit tipsy, and with a good pair of boots on. She hits the streets. She finds Whiskers and just stomps his head in. Takes him back to the house. Did she cook him up?
that's what I want to know.
How? Did she skin the cat?
Who were all the people that saw this unfold and then witnessed her eating it?
So they were sitting in the house, and they're like, hold up. Wait a minute. What's going on out there? Is that Alexis? What's she doing? Oh, snap. You see her stomp that cat's head in? What? Oh, man, she's crazy. She picked it up. She's taking it back to the house. There's more than one way to skin a cat. I wonder how she did it. Hopefully, I don't want anyone to eat a cat. I don't want anyone to harm a pet. No. I'm not a cat guy, but I don't want cats to be harmed in any way, okay? But I hope she cooked it. Like, if she didn't cook it, it's even grosser. Like, if you're just you're drunk, you stomped a cat, and you're eating a raw cat outside, like, that's insane.
When they say, like, intoxicated, I'm thinking you gotta be on some heavy-duty drugs.
I don't think... I'm not a drinker. I've never been drunk. But I don't think that's what happens when you get drunk. Usually... Yeah, I don't know. I would think you're on something else, like bath salts. Remember that? When there was that bath salt thing, and like people were... Someone got attacked and like got their face eaten off or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're on when you're eating cats outside at 10:45 p.m.
Tide Pods.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing something pretty intense. I mean, I've eaten some wild stuff. And if I was in another country, in another culture, and it was like, hey, this is normal for us.
This is how we prepare this.
And it's, Whiskers. Let's give it a whirl.
It's in a soup.
I'd give it a whirl.
Everyone in the village is eating. Harvested humanely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. But we're just in the 1100 block of 13th Street, Southeast Canton, 10:45 p.m. on a Friday. I mean,
on a Friday night.
At least it was a Friday.
Yeah.
Every day's a Friday. Joel Osteen. Every day's a Friday. Alexis.
You think that's what he was talking about?
That's what he was talking about. He's fastening his boots, and he's like, every day's a Friday. Tying his shoes up. He was ready to do some stomping. Turns out. Dude, that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, so that's why
that is a good find. That is a good find. Wow. Will you send me the link for that?
Yeah.
I'll put it in the description.
Yeah.
Also, I want to give...
a reason for people, if you're contemplating moving Massillon, Canton area. Massillon's got its advantages. There's the shooting. We're not
movie theater shooting.
Yeah, movie theater shooting. We're not going to, speak negatively on the person that passed.
John Whedon
walked away from the water plant. So those are two real big pluses for Massillon. Canton, we have ladies eating cats. I feel like we had something else in Canton too, but it's been a minute.
Well, Massillon, the movie theater shooter was actually from Canton, which is what the Facebook people were citing.
Okay.
Keep the trash in Canton. keep it out of the City of Champions.
So was this lady? This lady was originally from Canton, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alexis.
Yeah.
And
so-
this is an Alexis Farrell Memorial episode 26.
Dude, I'm just trying to picture, as a parent, how would that conversation go? Like, look, honey, I know you have some anger issues, but you just can't do this.
And what do you do with the boots?
Dude, you think we could auction those?
I don't know. Yeah. I'm just
Viewers
like...
might have an interest in them.
Alexis, if you're listening from Cell Block 9, let us know your thoughts.
I was
That's
thinking,
rough.
too, you know, what would have been nice is if one of the neighbors would have seen that, and I think, you know, he's not a vet, but I think our good friends at Adjust could have probably, with a few little tweaks on that kitten, probably been able to...
Adjust it back to life.
I don't know. Do you think...
Head down to Adjust Chiropractic today.
If Dr. B could have done something and
maybe.
resurrected the cat?
If you feel like Alexis Farrell has stomped on you, head on down to Adjust Chiropractic for an adjustment today. They'll get you taken care of.
Or if you have a cat, a dog that's been injured.
That's right. They also adjust pets.
For free.
Yeah, free of charge.
Yeah.
Head on down. Yeah,
Good
dude,
sponsor,
that's wild.
good sponsor.
That is wild. I love that you found that. Yeah, I was going to say something else, but I forget what it was. So.
Or our other sponsor, which I think we forgot to mention last week. Another big one.
Yeah.
Let's say you're across the way and you're like 10:45 at night.
Across the way?
Across the way. And you're like, is that someone stomping a cat? It could be your frame.
You couldn't see it
Couldn't
very
see it.
well
Yeah.
because you have a cross eye.
Could be a cross eye.
Yeah. So you're looking out there and you're like, what's going on out there? Is that lady tap dancing in the street? No, that's Whiskers under her feet there, Jamal. So we needed to call and schedule an appointment only, over at Enjoy Optical.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a drive, but if you are in inner city Canton, you can take the SARTA bus to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Actually, Edmond. It's a suburb. And they'll hook
Sarah
you
will
up.
probably take you to downtown Oklahoma, and then you could probably Uber.
Yeah, or hitchhike, whatever.
Yeah.
Another great thing about them is they actually have pop-up locations in every Dollar General nationwide. And so they've got a friendly staff there that will help you, and they're going to make sure you're taken care of. So Adjust Chiropractic, thanks to them, thanks to Enjoy Optical and Friday Pickleball for making these videos possible.
All three sponsors.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So, well, anything else you want to share?
That was it. That was the big news I wanted to get out there. I thought that was pretty important for the listeners to hear.
I just had a wild thing happen. 2 wild things real quick.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
So, I was in Giant Eagle buying bananas because I'm doing this whole food eating. So I'm like, I could really go for something with some sugar in it. I was just feeling drained, so I was like, I'm going to get a banana. So I buy a bunch of bananas. You know, it's like $1.75 or something for a huge thing of bananas. And the guy at the register is like, he's like, I actually got some old bananas at home. I'm going to make some banana bread out of. And I was like, that's awesome, man. Like, you know, it's great. I love banana bread. And he gets a little closer to me.
Oh, no.
And he was like, if I make a...
He wasn't wearing a shirt like this.
No, he was like, if I make a big loaf of banana bread, I bet you'd like a slice, wouldn't you? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, big old slice of banana bread, you'd like that? And I was just like, yeah, it sounds good. And like, I'm like thinking to myself, like, what is going on? Like, who is this guy? And then I realized that something was not 100%. Because he's like, yeah, I bring it in for work sometimes and put it in the break room. I also do drawings for people. If I drew you a picture, what would you want me to draw? And then I was just like, okay, something is off. But like in the moment where he's like, bet you'd like a big old slice of banana bread, wouldn't you? I'm like, yeah.
2 things went through my mind. Either one, I was thinking initially, he's interested.
I know.
Or 2, He's calling out fat boy.
I know. He's like, you're fat. I bet you like a big slice of banana bread. That's what I thought he was saying. And I was like, caught off guard. I was like, yeah,
You're like
I
sucking
guess.
it in a little bit,
Like,
trying to stand a little bit taller.
Like, listen, man, I can still get around the pickleball court just fine, thank you. Not really. My foot's been bothering me. Second thing that was crazy is Sunday morning. So yesterday morning, we're getting ready for church, the kids, and it was just a crazy time getting them ready. It's just a whole debacle with finding pants. I'm just like, guys, this is insane. But so we get everyone's clothes going, and, you know, I'm getting the boys stuff, and I'm walking to the kitchen. All of a sudden, I see something, like, go like this across the floor. Like, do a hop. And I was like, what the heck? And I was like, that doesn't look normal. What's going on? So I, like, look over again, and there's nothing there, and then, like, I see something move again. I'm like, something's there. A frog was in my house. And
the kids know about it?
It was like, it had like dirt on it and stuff. And like, I went to Ella because she loves frogs.
Last time I was here, she had a frog in a mason jar.
That frog, she was going to let it go. She put it on a little tech deck mini skateboard because she thought it was dead. It was laying upside down on the tech deck for like a couple of hours. And then she covered it with a leaf because she thought it was dead. And then we brought it inside to look at it, and we saw its belly move, like it breathed. And we were like, this frog is still alive. So we were able to let it go, and that frog lived. But this was a tree frog. It had long back legs, but the frog itself wasn't very big. And so I asked her, I was like, did you bring this frog in the house? No. I'm like, Ella, did you bring this frog in the house? And she's saying that she did not. So I'm like, how did this frog get in the house? Like,
it's hard to believe.
the door was open a bunch throughout the day. Did something jump in? Was it in like a suitcase from camp and then it's just been here for like a week or something, living under the fridge?
Who knows?
Who knows? So we let it go outside, and it was the weirdest thing. So
Dude, that's crazy.
it was wild.
That is pretty wild.
Yeah.
We've had some wild things throughout my whole life. I feel like that I've had in the house. Raccoons one time. Most recently was before we bought our house that we're in now. So a couple of years back, we were in our 600 square foot rental house, and a squirrel got in there. I remember getting a call from my wife.
I remembered you
A
telling me
squirrel
about
got
that.
into the house.
Crazy.
Like, how does a squirrel get in here?
Dude, I forgot that you lived in a 600 square foot house
I know.
for a few years.
I know. It's crazy to look back on. It was honestly really good because you purge a lot of stuff you think you might need or want, and then you just boil it down to like, we really don't need this stuff.
You grow so
Get
close
rid of it.
together too, probably.
Yeah. I mean, you have to. You have like no room.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild. But recently we've had the, speaking of things in the house, the chickens. Sometimes the kids will just go outside, leave the door open. I'm like, guys, we weren't born in a barn.
Yeah. They'll come
Close
in.
the door. Chickens just go right in,
Mhm.
just hanging out,
Yeah.
running around in the house, and I'm like, we're a zoo.
Yeah.
We're officially a zoo.
Yep. That's fun though.
So it's fun. Good
Fun memories. Yeah, exactly. That one chicken I got still hanging on.
You down to one?
Yeah, he just runs around outside.
What happened to the other ones? Don't know. Don't care.
They're gone.
Um,
Alexis Farrell came over with her boots on. Oh my gosh.
I think she's the one you're dating.
That's her. Yes. Alexis, I love you, dear. Oh my
one
goodness.
chicken left. What do you give it? We should do. What are the odds?
I
You
don't
think
know.
it's like, probably, it's getting colder. I bet within the next couple of months something takes it out.
You think so?
I think so.
It's been living in my neighbor's garage. He has it as like a pet. He's like, "Can I have this?" I was like, "Yeah, man, it's your chicken." So I feed it and stuff, but
Does it lay you eggs?
mm-mm.
Oh,
I think it's laying him eggs in his garage.
okay.
He came out one day holding one. And I was like, "It's all you, man." So
You just can't wait for that final one to go.
I don't care.
What are you gonna do with that coop out there? You gonna burn it?
Get rid of it. You want it?
No, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna burn it. Put it in the burn pile.
Yeah, dude, burning is such a good feeling.
Oh yeah, getting just finality of it, getting
Yeah.
rid of stuff. I got a whole bunch of brush out there I need to burn, but we better sign off of here. All right,
you
guys, we love you, and we'll catch
see
you
you at the
later.
Alexis Block Memorial Run.
Farrell. Alexis Farrell Memorial Fun Run Race for the Cure.